So now we're going to take the bacon that we have rendered, and we're going to put that in here also. Any balance of any bacon fat goes right there. And we're going to take this lemon, and in this case, because this is going to be sealed up in the oven, I'm going to not only just put the juice all over, but I want to put the lemon half itself right into the braising pan, so that the essence of that lemon zest on the outside of that lemon also comes in and permeates the cabbage a little bit now. And we're going to put a little bit of pepper right in here like this, and a little bit of salt in here, being careful, because this braising liquid that we're going to end up with, not only does it have the salt from the bacon and the bacon fat in it, adding salt to it could be dangerous, okay? All right, now we're going to take all the mushroom and onion, and we're going to pour it all over the cabbage. And I'm going to take that little bit of chicken stock, put that over there, like so. I'll probably want the cabbage about 1/3 submerged with the stock, okay? Now, let's get a close look at that, Richard. You see what you have here now? Bacon, mushroom, onion, a little bit of lemon, salt and pepper, and now I'm going to take some garlic and mix it right on here, like this. You can also add the garlic to the mushroom and onion at the last second if you want. And now I'm going to seal this up with some aluminum foil. Now I want to show you something about sealing the foil that might be helpful to you at a later date. That is, you want to seal this foil on this pan in such a way so that you can remove the foil to test the cabbage for doneness without ripping the foil. Otherwise, every time you go to test the cabbage, you have to replace it with brand new foil because you have to keep this sealed. So we're going to fold the foil onto the pan so that we can unfold it. Now if I go in there and crunch it all up like that, I'll never be able to get the foil off without ripping it. I'll have to keep replacing the foil. You don't want that. This would apply to any dish that's like this. You notice I'm folding the foil on. This way I can just unfold it when it's time to test the cabbage for doneness. Okay. Now I'm going to pop this in the oven. It's about 350, 375, 400. There's a range of temperature that you can cook this at, and use your own discretion based on how big your oven is, how big the braising pan is, and how big of a hurry you might be in. I'm going to braise this at about 375 to 400 until it's done. And after we come back from the time-elapse preparation on this, I'll tell you exactly how long it took me to do this. But for right now, I'm going to put it in the 375-degree oven. And we're going to bake it. Now, while that's in the oven, one of the things I'm going to do to expedite the completion of the dish when this comes out of the oven is I'm going to pre-reduce the cream that's going to be added to the braising liquid. Now, I have a quart of cream here, and I'm going to use the very same pan that I cooked the bacon and onion in. Not only do I not have to dirty another pan, but I can get any flavors that might have been left behind by that bacon and onion sauteing process. So we're going to put a couple of cups of cream in there, which is a half a quart. And just because I happen to like this flavor in there, I'm going to add a pinch of garlic into the cream. And it'll extract that flavor during the reducing part. Now, I'm going to reduce the cream down to sauce consistency or even further, keeping in mind that I'm going to be adding it to a broth, which means it's going to never keep its consistency anyway, because the broth that the braised cabbage is ultimately and finally will be served with is more brothy and not like a sauce. So we'll be back time-elapse. I'll be reducing the cream during that time, and I'll have it all reduced to show you when we take that cabbage out of the oven, which should be in about 45 to 65 minutes. So we'll be back right now. Okay, the completion of the braised green cabbage with the bacon and the onion and the mushrooms and the garlic and the chicken stock. Makes it all sound good too. This is a very nice savory cabbage dish. one of the important things to do is don't overcook it to death. Now, I just tested this for doneness, and we're going to pull it out of the oven. And this item is cooked just right. Now, one of the reasons that we kept the root stem attached to each one of these wedges is so that our wedges themselves would stay intact. Now,
Chef, how long did that cook?
this cooked about an hour. I'm throwing the lemon out because we have no use for that now. I'm going to put all of these wedges individually on a cutting board. Because I'm going to trim all of the roots off of these before we lay them on our presentation platter for the family style arrangement that we're going to do here for you today. You see why it's important to have a large cutting board like this at your house? Imagine doing this on one of those little teeny weenies. You'd be here screwing around with this most of the day, I'd say. Okay, we're going to get rid of this lemon here now too. Now before I even do this, I'm going to strain this juice into a little saucepan and add the reduced cream to it that I began reducing when I cut away to the time-elapse version of this baking process. Now this is that delicious chicken stock, which I want to taste. This is really good. The rind of the lemon comes through into this juice, just the right amount. You don't want to put a lot of lemon in. The one lemon for all this is plenty, and it's the right amount. Now we're going to strain this juice and this food. Oops. Try to avoid doing that. Inevitably, we always spill things on our stove, and it's the hardest thing in the kitchen to clean usually because you got to take it apart to clean it. Anyway, there is the juice right here, and that's the amount of juice that this needs. That's all the amount of juice this needs. That's what it is. Now we're going to take the juice and put it on a high flame. Now remember now, we got all this food here too. And we're going to use all this food to garnish this cabbage dish when we lay it all out here and present it for you now, okay? So now I'm going to take the reduced cream that I have here, which we reduced fairly thickly during that baking process, and we're going to add this to the chicken stock slash official word braising liquid from the cabbage, okay? I'm going to give that a little mix. Now, you can do this one of two ways in terms of the braising liquid. I told you earlier that this isn't necessarily going to be sauce consistency, so making the cream sauce consistency wasn't that important. However, if you did want to do it that way, you would want to reduce the cream and sauce consistency, which is what I did. So I think just for the record, I'll need a 2-ounce ladle too, Richard, please. Louis, please. Thank you. I'm going to reduce it to some sauce consistency, to ladle it a little bit, but not complete sauce, almost. Okay? And we'll just be taking a look at this as we're going along and cutting the cabbage up. It's only going to take a couple of minutes for that cream to reduce, okay? Now, setting the cabbage up on the tray. Now what I would do, if I were you and I wanted to do this in advance, I would put this cabbage now into like a Pyrex or some kind of container like that, so that you can take the entire dish and reheat it right in the pan that you're going to finish it in now, later. So I can do what I'm going to do now, put it all in the container, and then reheat it quickly before I'm ready to serve it.